Okay, check. I am never going to be ready. I know I hate pushing the time back, but this is the problem. There's a lot of them. I need a crew. That's my problem. I need somebody to take care of me. What in the world? Now this damn thing is wanting to fall down. So really, I'm screwed. I was like, I'm not going to turn the schedule back again. And I am determined, even if it all falls down while I'm live, I am freaking so annoyed. You know, it all started with the whole moving of the damn studio. Okay. Serenity now, please. What the F, man? I just can't do it by myself. Annabise, are you still here? Fred, I'm so sorry. I know, Fred, you get all smart mouth with me, which I deserve it, but please forgive. I just need my aromatherapy. It'll get me back on track. Okay. So top chat, live chat. Check. Urgh. Do I have one dog in the house? I got one. And it's so annoying when they keep scratching at the door. And I'm starving. So, you know, it's just one thing after another. That's what happens when I have to keep pushing back the schedule. So then I'm hungry. And then if I reschedule again, I'll never get on. Annabise, thank you for your patience. I'll never get on. And then, you know, if I eat, then there's this, then there's that. It's just like one thing after another. So forgive me. I'm going to eat in front of you. I don't do it too often. And I'll tell you what I have. It looks really bizarre. And it is kind of bizarre, but it's delicious. I have a Thai chicken curry soup with avocado and sweet potato chips. Does that sound gross or does that sound good? Because it is really good. Hey, Fred. Hey, Anna. And I do want to eat it before it gets cold. So we'll just get into it. How are you guys? Did you see I made a short this morning? I don't think I'd made a short in like a year. And I think it's really good. And I'm going to beg you guys to like share it with everybody that you know. I'll tell you what it is. It's a minute out of my live from last night. I'll explain. I don't know how it sounds. LOL. Well, if you like curry Thai food, it is delicious. And if you like avocado and if you like sweet potato chips. So like I said, I do want to eat it while it's still warm. But I also apologize for eating in front of you guys. It's just so rude. Especially if you're hungry, but you can eat and nobody will know. No one must know. How's the lighting? I was like ready to come on like 45 minutes ago, and this whole thing fell over. And I'm like, well, screw it. I don't want it anyway. But if I was going to take it out, then that would have taken time too. So I just set it back up. And then, like I said, then I got hungry and I'd already eaten a couple hours ago. I had some yogurt. I love yogurt. It's very, very healthy. It's one of my go-tos. Annabise, you saw it? Tell me what you think. Oh, I'm so excited. You saw my little 1 minute. It shouldn't be that hard to make a short, but I hadn't done it in so long. And then I thought, oh, I got it. And I kept not getting it. Oh, and then my phone. I keep my phone charged at all times, so this crap doesn't happen. It started to load it. It was uploading it, so it was almost ready to go. And then I noticed my phone was on 1%. So I raced to the charger. And there is actually, now that I think about it, there's a charger right next to me. But I raced into my studio for the charger here to plug it in before it died, but I didn't do it in time and it died. And so then I had to start all over again. The world is out to get me. But I do have some really good news about the platform. Allegedly, according to one of my mentors, so I believe her, YouTube is about to demonetize all of the AI channels, you guys. Maybe not. I mean, it sounds too good to be true. They've taken over, haven't they? And I'm sure the technology will figure out a way to stay ahead of them. Here for an hour or less. I want to watch National Hours. Okay. Let's get into it, Fred. Thank you. I apologize profusely. I don't ever watch the news. So that's kind of all I do is watch the news. I have to like stop myself and make myself listen to music and, do my yoga and play with the puppies and do all the other good stuff in life. The news is a shit show today. There's so much that I can't even, I just start watching a little bit here and there, but man, I feel so far behind already. So, I think, again, the most important things, in my opinion, to focus on right now are the Texas flood and the Epstein files that don't exist, right? The Epstein list that doesn't exist. The 1 minute of the videotape that never existed. I'm almost done. I thought it was good and it doesn't have anything to do with you saying my name. LOL. I know. I thought you might be excited that your name was in there. I hope that's okay. You're famous for all 50 of the people that might watch it. No, my videos have not been getting a ton of views lately. Once in a while they do. But this thing on Friday, first of all, I can't believe that I'm the only one to notice it, right? It was quick. He kind of said it under his breath, But here we are Monday, I mean, and nobody else is talking about it that I know of. These are the things that sometimes the really big channels pick up on it. And I'm hoping that they do. Whether they pick up on it from me or just anywhere is almost irrelevant. I hope that this is one of those things that people go, WTF. But it happened Friday. So when it happened on Friday, I'd already done my live Friday. I was going to do a live on Saturday, but, I took the day off like I thought I might. And then Sunday, I finally got my live yesterday. And, was one of the things I wanted to talk about that I had in my notes. You guys, I usually have 2 pages of notes for each live. I think I have like 6 or 8 pages right now. And it's mostly from today. Just going over all this stuff while I was setting up. So I'm going to finish eating. I'm going to get into it. I'm glad you like it. What would, that would be great if they did. I know. It's crazy. I mean, this man is such a joke and he's so dangerous and he does think he's God and he's messing with people's lives and he's costing people their lives and their livelihood and he needs to go. But do you know what else happened on Friday while people were watching him and Melania in Texas? They fired all the people that worked with Jack Smith on the January 6th report. All of them. They're all gone. And Pam Bondi fired her ethics advisor because, this pesky ethics advisor always trying to advise you to be ethical and crap. How annoying. These people are insane. So then we have Christine Noem and Trumpster Fire saying, no, things weren't delayed with the rescue for the flood. It was actually quite the opposite. Things got done faster because we're so great. The double think, the double speak. Oh my gosh, I didn't hear that yet. Yeah, I just heard it like an hour ago. I'm so glad that I heard it. So, I got together with one of my best friends yesterday. Was that after I made my video or before? I don't even remember. It's probably after. And she used to work for the government. She's retired. She knows a lot about politics. And she said that exactly. And that's always what I'm thinking is, what were they doing behind the scenes when we were all paying attention to this crap that they were doing? And one of my lights just went out. It's so hard to get the lighting where it's not too bright and it's not too dim. And this one just wants to go out. And then when it comes on, it might be too bright. Okay. BoobTube is here in the house, tuning in to listen to your thoughts. I'm not political whatsoever, but I'll hold all their feet on the fire. Won't be able to chat. Much love, Jazz and Anna, to others in chat. Well, thank you so much, BoobTube. Yeah, the damn flood in Texas should not be political, but I guess they're again having more flooding today, I think. So BoobTube, I made this little 1-minute clip from my video last night. I think I already put it in the description of this video right now. Please check it out. And if you think it's good, share it with everybody that you know. Because we're trying to make Anna Bees famous. I mentioned her in it. So yeah, it's a clip from the live last night where Donnie Two Dolls says something to the effect that, well, I think I was saved by somebody very special like me because, I'm supposed to help the country or some insane bullcrap that, I'm sorry, but man, his maggots, they just fall for that crap, hook, line, and sinker. And they too think that he is like God and Jesus. It's insane. So yeah, you guys, if you can plaster it everywhere, if you think it's worthy, put it on Facebook, put it in groups, put it on, I don't put my stuff on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. I'll try to figure it out for this one in particular, because I need to figure that out anyway. But anywhere you want to put it, I don't care if I get, the points for it or whatever, the way they add up for your monetization. I don't give a crap about that. I don't care if I get credit for nothing. I just want people to realize what he said in this Fox interview on Friday. And this Fox interview guy was just licking his boots, obviously hoping to get an appointment with him one day. Because that's where all of his cabinet members came from, pretty much. If not Fox, then their own podcasts. Okay. I'm going to set this down. I might finish it. I might not. One sec. Maybe I'll just take one more bite. I'll negotiate somewhere in between. Okay. And then a couple more sweet potato chips. Have you guys had sweet potato chips? They're good. Especially with avocado and especially with hummus. I don't really like hummus that much, but it's really good with sweet potato chips. Okay, let's get into it. I appreciate your patience. We're 15 minutes in, but I didn't want to keep pushing it back like I had a million times already. Because I got to go to Costco before they close tonight too. And they close kind of early. So what? In my notes, I wrote down that Ted Cruz gave $250 billion to Israel. This was a while back. Ted Cruz, $250 billion to Israel. I think it was a while back. But what about the money for the people in Texas and Kerrville who are needing to rebuild their towns, their infrastructure, their lives? It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. If even one fatality could have been avoided, then whoever didn't do things as well as they could have, I think needs to burn. And try to get that light out of the corner so it's not distracting me. Okay, so I'm going to count up how many pages I have, but I didn't like write single spaced or small or anything. In fact, quite the opposite, because it was just like off the rails. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7. Only 7 pages. No, 8. I think 7. We'll go with 7. But like I said, some of it's double spaced, and I wrote really big, so it's not like it's that much longer than the 2 pages that I normally have. But where do I start? Where do I start? I'm probably going to make another clip of that 1 hour plus live from last night. I think the 1 minute clip that I made, because I have so many different times written down, like, should I do it from here to here? I think I did it from like about 22 minutes and 16 seconds, or maybe 22 minutes and 21 seconds to the 23 minute and 16 second mark. Because to do a short, it has to be 60 seconds or less. So I think I did it in like 55 seconds about. But altogether, there was about, at least from the 19-minute mark until maybe as late as the 28-minute, 50-second mark. So maybe I'll make like a 9-minute video from about the 19-minute mark until about 29 minutes. Let's see, 19 to 29. 10-minute video, so I don't forget. So yeah, when I woke up this morning, I was just like possessed when I realized I had to make that short, because I was like, it's been 3 days since he said it and nobody else is talking about it. And it kind of reminded me of the fire that I felt under my feet when Kylie Rodney was discovered by AWP. And I thought, dang it, I'm glad she was found, but I missed my opportunity to start my channel to try to help with discovering WTF. So I thought I missed my chance. So she was discovered 3 years ago on August 21st, I think, was when AWP found her in the Prosser Creek there, where they said that they already searched like 50 times or 50,000 times or something, right? And then after about a week, I was like, this case is blowing up now that she's been found. It's like more important than ever that I start my channel and start saying these things that I think I'm not catching anybody else say, and I think they need to be said. So that was why I started my channel, was specifically for Kylie Rodney's case, to say things that I was kind of surprised that nobody was saying. And, you know, I wouldn't say that that's kind of been a theme for the whole 3 years, I don't think, because it really felt like it kind of resurged this morning, where I was just like kind of annoyed with having to make the short. It's kind of like, man, I got other stuff I need to focus on. But let me see if I can turn this fan on, because it gets warm with all these lights, camera, action, Jackson. So I have 2 little fans, and then sometimes they make me too cold, but they also make me sneeze, and I don't want that. I don't want to scratch my nose in front of you guys. I already ate in front of you guys. There's nothing worse than that. So let me keep up. And again, I appreciate you guys so much. I love coming on live. I love interacting with you. I keep thinking I want to make shorter, like 10, 20-minute pre-recorded videos, but I'm just like, if I'm going to make a video, I want to come on with my people to say hi, to interact. And you guys almost always have a nugget for me that I'm like, dang, I'm glad I went on live, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have gotten that nugget. And that's so much information to keep up with. But whether I get nuggets from you guys or not is immaterial, really. It's just fun. It's more fun to interact than it is just to like talk to a stupid thing. You know me. I like people, not technology. I guess I'm weird like that. I would never be able to marry Elon, huh? Now my nose is itching. Sorry. Let me scratch my nose. So how's the sound? Is it okay? Because I'm going to get into my notes here before Fred has to go and watch the world news. And I appreciate you, Fred. I really like watching world news also. I used to always make sure I caught the world news tonight with David Muir. But now there's so many YouTubers that I like actually even more that I don't always prioritize the time for that specific world news. There's certain channels that I prioritize the time for. And then I'm usually also finding new channels, which is fun, but it's like, man, I can't even keep up with the ones that I know of. So quit giving me new ones that I don't know of, but I'm kidding. I love finding a new channel. Okay. Is this good? I'm gonna have to like redo stuff in here. It's so annoying. I just gotta focus on the positive. When I move the studio, I feel like I do things that make it better. And I do like this even more than before. So, but I also like to make it simpler, like less is more, right? Okay. Anna Bees, I'm going to catch that comment. Patricia Moss, hello, says hello, everybody. Just joined in, catch the beginning after the end. Well, all I did was eat soup and chat. So we're just getting going now. You're right on time. Hi, Patricia. Oh, wow. I think you may have just started. Yeah. Hi, Anna Bees. I know. And it's like 22 minutes in. So it's like, I don't want to waste people's time. Like Fred is like on a time constraint. But, maybe I'll clip it and just try to clip out the really important parts and make sure that those can get more views, hopefully. I don't promote my stuff at all. I just don't play the game. I don't make I don't do the bait and switch thumbnails. I know I should. They're all bait and switch. It feels like sometimes. I hate it. And I don't want to, homie, don't play like that. Like no one says how no one saw the bodies being removed from 1122 King Road. And I want to acknowledge, because I caught a Jules of All Trades where she was saying, I mentioned something about this last week. She was saying, that's a stupid comment. That's a stupid thing to think about or to say, or, I'm paraphrasing, and it's not to start a beef with Jules because, we don't need to roll like that. It's okay to disagree, agree to disagree. I see her point, but yeah, you don't always see the remains getting hauled off. You definitely don't always see that. Like they try to keep that under wraps, but given the high profile of the case and how like News Nation was out there 24/7 and a lot of people were keeping their eyes on things. And I'm sure there was a lot of Ring doorbell cams that were then pointed to the house. It's very bizarre that we don't see the removal. Like it wasn't until the U-Haul backed up to the house that I thought, are they doing it now? Disguising it as furniture? I mean, that was a few weeks into it. So it was like, no, they better have already gotten everything gone. I mean, they said that they did. They said that they had things for trigger warning autopsy and all that way quicker. And cremation and burial. Anyway, let me do my thing with the thumb. I'm glad that I found a place where I can just put the thumb and it can stay put because I think it looks really cool like that. All right. And I found my sign. It just fell down behind everything. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, turn on your notification bell to ring and share a video of mine, por favor. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion with my wonderful viewers. And I'm hoping that we can all learn something together. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. And yeah, there was a lot in that freaking Idaho 4 case that I was surprised other people didn't catch, that I was like, what about this? What about that? What about the other thing? You know, again, even with Kopaka on day one, I made a video the same day as the SWAT team and him, the day that he died on December 15th of 2022. I made a video that very same day and said, there's no way you can convince me that these things aren't the slightest bit related, at least a little bit related, if not completely related. Just the time frame proximity and the geographic proximity. But, you know, all the freaking mayhem, the flooding the zone, literally and figuratively, the blowing up the world, literally and figuratively, that's been going on since this whole e-files has gotten elevated, you know, from he passed away 6 years ago. And yeah, this stuff with little e has been going on for at least 20 years, that has been litigious, that there's been people saying kids have been hurt, the culprits need to be held accountable, and nothing. It's always whitewashed, and the elite are protected, and the children that were abused, some of them are now deceased by self, right? All by self. I don't buy it with Virginia Giuffre. I don't necessarily buy it with the two before her. And these are just the ones that we know of. Lee Sky Patrick and Carolyn Adriano. Carolyn Adriano had 5 kids. She had almost $200,000 in the bank. Her and her husband were purchasing a new home, a very nice home, you know. Even Jeffrey was about to have a bail hearing like a day or two before he was found in his cell. So it's Monday now. So I don't know if people have quit or gotten fired around this, you know, the Pamela Bondi and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Trumpster Fire is doing his best to try to put out the fires, although he wants all of the drama because that's how you get the ratings. And it's just a freaking reality show to him. And he just wants your attention. He's dying to have your attention. Have you noticed that Melania has been with him a little bit recently? Like, that's unusual. And she's actually pointing things out to him, like politically, that he needs to do better on. Like, go Melania. She's probably just like, man, I gotta save the world. I gotta watch this guy. I better like hang out with him because he can't be unsupervised, right? He's like a freaking 2-year-old. You don't leave him unsupervised, especially with his sycophants that just encourage him. Oh, so yesterday he was at the World Cup with Melania and Kristi Noem. If you've seen pictures of them in the balcony, Kristi Noem looks like a little kid. Like, she looks like she's 12. She's had so much Botox. She's reverse aged to prepubescent. OMG. And then he was standing with this guy, Gianni Infantissimo, who I guess is like El Presidente of the World Soccer Federation or something. And he's corrupt AF. And then he had a woman with him who looked like she was being held hostage and maybe kidnapped from Auschwitz. She had the dark circles under her eyes. She had like the straight unkempt hair, kind of like this. She looked kind of like the woman that hangs out with the Big E the most. What's her name? Siobhan, the one who has several of his kids, who was his employee, the one that had to like watch him when he was balancing all the silverware on the single finger. The night that that attorney in Virginia, Jessica Aber, was found deceased the next morning. The 43-year-old attorney, that a federal attorney whose specialties were mostly corruption and cryptocurrency and Russians and that kind of crap. Jessica Aber. I'm so glad I could remember her name. It doesn't always come up for me. She was 43 years old. She died in her sleep in Virginia while Elon was balancing silverware on his finger at Bedminster, which is where, what's today, the 14th? Today's the 3-year anniversary of Ivana also passing away unaccompanied. So that was 2022, July 14th, the day before Don Sr., Don Jr., and Ivanka were all scheduled for week-long depositions to start on the 15th of July of 2022 about his Trumpster Fire's fraudulent inflation of the value of his properties to fraudulently get higher loans and better interest rates from the banks. This guy's been laundering money for years, for decades. Like, that's all he does. And that's some of the dirt that little E had on him. He knew a lot about the money deals. And it's usually the money deals that'll get people busted, like all the red rums and violations, assaults, all that stuff. You know, they usually contract to get the red rums, so you can't really trace it back to them. The violations are like a he said, she said, and then she's not alive anyway to tell her part of it. It's usually the money laundering is where they get busted because there's a freaking paper trail and it's legit, you know, it's notarized, that kind of thing. It's usually the money laundering that brings these MFs down. Okay. I'm very, very upset about all this. This might be like a 5-hour live. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have that much time. And I know you guys don't either. So let's see. You are on the cutting edge of saying things others are not saying. Patricia, you're so nice to say that. Like, I feel like I am, but I don't want to give myself props because, you know, maybe I'm just delusional. I just have delusions of grandeur. I just think I'm so on top of it, but I'm lost in left field. I mean, I always want to keep an open mind. And, you know, of course, I don't think I'm necessarily right about things. And sometimes I really wish that I wasn't right about things. I really wish that, for instance, that Kylie did just have a fender bender and that was what caused her to be rubbed out. And for instance, I really wish it was just one demented, crazy ninja nerd who took 15 minutes to off 4 people. And it wasn't like some big conspiracy that involved like entities that it shouldn't involve. We'll just leave it at that. And I wish our government wasn't so messed up. It is. It has been, I think, since its inception almost. This is my understanding. But it seems like it's worse than ever. And for that, I would like to thank the Trumpster Fire administration because they're so out of control. They so can't temper their greed and their crimes that it's making it a lot more obvious so that even their fan base is seeing it. And I think it's going to be easier to prosecute them. I hope. I mean, unless they do away with all of the people that could have prosecuted them, which is pretty much what they're doing with Jessica Aber and with all of the people that worked on the January 6th report with is it Jack Smith that worked on that? Because then I'm also thinking of Stephen Smith, who's supposed to be just a sportscaster, who's come out. I just saw the thumbnail for one of his videos where he wants to tell everybody how much he doesn't give a damn about Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, Stephen Smith, you're a sports podcaster. WTF? Like, why are you even making a video about it if you don't care? Obviously, you're part of the propaganda to try to quash things. So let's see. I'm going to look at my phone real quick, just in case it's something urgent. Okay, and then what else was it that I was going to look at? The private messages. Let's see. Okay, I'm all good. Nothing urgent. Nothing urgent except a monster truck for sale and a heart emoji on one of my texts. So I'm going to catch up with you guys and then look into my notes again. Thank you for the really nice comment, Patricia Moss. I appreciate it. And, you know, I frustrate myself that it takes me so long to get to the point, and sometimes I forget to get to the point, which is why I try to view my videos. It's why I try to do them every day, because I want to get better at it. I mean, seriously, times like today when I felt such urgency to get that little 60-second clip out, at the same time, I felt like, man, I give up. This stuff is ridiculous. It's just too much nitty gritty that I'm not good at. And if I had a crew, I could say, okay, now play the clip, right? It drives me nuts when they say that on Midas Touch, because I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. Okay, play the clip. And, you know, if I was smart like Kelly and from What's the Obsession and Shanda from Squirrels on Fire and Ara and Paula Plunder and all the rest of them, I would know how to do it myself, but I don't have that kind of technological know-how. So I will do the thing where I play it on my phone, because at least I can do that. Anyway, I just try to focus on what I'm good at. And I think I'm pretty good at like seeing through crap. I think that's one of my superpowers, is that especially when I'm like swimming or gardening or meditating, doing my yoga, when I take a step back, I can see through the crap. Or sometimes I like to watch videos with no sound, and I can kind of see through the crap that way too. If I'm watching a liar speak, you know, like a Chris Watts or a Nicole Kessinger or a Trumpster fire, an Elon. I mean, I think it's fun to, Anna B says, well, especially when your name is mentioned. I'm so glad that you're okay with that and that you're that you liked it. And funny as well, Mrs. Elon. Well, and I love to be funny because I'm a comedian. I love to be funny because it helps. This stuff is so toxic and we need the laughter. I need the laughter. And that's one of my favorite ways to get news. Like sometimes I just watch all the hardcore stuff, and then other times I'm like, screw it. I'm only watching comedy. And then I just like buckle down on all the, you know, Jon Stewart and Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Trevor Noah. One of you guys reminded me not to skip Trevor Noah. And there's a lot of brilliant comedians that talk about this stuff, and they're accurate. It really is a great way to get information and keep a light heart with it. When, I mean, in some of these cases, you can't keep a light heart with any of the crap in Texas. Like there's absolutely zero that you can keep lightness with that. So I think that they had more flooding over the weekend. I think in the whole Guadalupe River, I mean, not the entire Guadalupe River, but that same area, I think. And I think that they've had more today. And it sounds like some of the flooding on the 4th of July was as high as 50 feet. And if a thumbnail that I saw is accurate and not a bait and switch, it's probably a bait and switch. There was a 30-foot wall today, even. But having looked at the geological models and watching the scientists talk about how that land is and how unabsorbent it is, because like here in Ohio, our earth is like a sponge. It will just soak up so much water and it'll just keep soaking it up before it floods. It's insane. I mean, but this is very fertile ground. This is why we have a lot of farms here in Ohio. And in other areas, like in the deserts, you know, the dirt becomes like cement, and especially when there's clay and limestone and the earth doesn't absorb any water, it just makes a flash flood. That's how that happens. That's one of the elements of it. There's more to it, of course, with the landscape and the rivers and the valleys and all that. And then the forks in the river was a big one with Mystic, Camp Mystic. The forks in the river, terrible, terrible, terrible. But yeah, thanks for thinking I'm funny. Sometimes I try, sometimes I'm not trying. But yeah. Sherry Irvin, hello, hello. Nice to see you. Let me get all caught up. And all the hellos. Isn't it nice to say hi to our friends? It is, it is. I remember you making a video about that right away. Well, it took me a long time. You're talking about the Brent Kopaka thing on December 15th. It took me a long time before I realized that I made it same day. Like I had to go back in my videos and look, because I didn't, for a long time, I didn't know how to find the date that you made your video, because it's kind of tricky. Like you have to go to the description and then you have to scroll down in the description and then it'll say the exact date that it was made. It won't say the time, but it'll say the date. So it was December 15th, which was the day that it happened. It happened in the wee hours of the morning. I made the video in the afternoon. And I've brought it up a couple of times because I'm just like, yeah, that's good. I wasn't saying that there was a connection, and I've never, ever, ever accused Kopaka of anything except maybe being inadvertently involved. Like, you know, that he might have been the IT guy and he was told to make the campus internet go down that night. Maybe he did that, and maybe he didn't know why he was being instructed to do that. But I don't know. I don't know if he was an IT guy. We know that he had that military background, and there were rumors about it, and you just never know with the rumors. You never know. 2022 was a bad year. So that was a good year in that Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced. Oh, and she is all over the headlines of YouTube today. Apparently she has the list. I've been saying this for weeks, that Ghislaine could bring Donnie down in the blink of an eye, which is why he had to say, oh, she's a nice person. I wish her well. I don't know much about it. Okay. Every time that man says, I don't know much about it, or I don't know anything about it, that is a huge tell that he knows everything about it. And he's lying, bald-faced lying. But yeah, 2022 was a bad year for Ivana, I'd say. And she passed away the day before those depositions were scheduled to start. So they got canceled indefinitely. And then they finally did them. And then that case is where he has the 34 felony convictions from. Like that was a big case. And then it was also her date of passing away, the 14th of July of 2022, was close to Ghislaine's sentencing. I'm not going to worry about it. Like she was sentenced a week or two before or after that. I think it was after. I think it was like the end of July, but it doesn't matter. It's just interesting that it was close. And then at the end of July was when a certain pedophile Sheriff Wayne Wu was appointed to Placer County, the guy who was in charge of Kylie Rodney's case. And then within a week, she goes missing. And then one of the people from the Nevada County Sheriff's Department, who's boots on the ground, along with Mr. Z, the billionaire who was up on the stage with the Trumpster fire on Inauguration Day. I know I sound insane. You can't keep up with this stuff. It will make you nuts. It hurts the head. It hurts the heart. And so those guys were both boots on the ground looking for Kylie. So the Nevada County Sheriff's Deputy Christopher Stanio, then 3 months later, his stepdaughter, that's the same age as Kylie, also goes missing. And he also has an identical twin brother who's one of the local California State Highway Patrol troopers, Matthew Stanio. But interestingly enough, Trinity Backus's mom and Christopher Stanio had been divorced. He'd gotten remarried, but then he was separated or divorced from that person. He had just had Andrea move back in with him, apparently right before her daughter went missing. It may be that Trinity Backus was living with him when she went missing. It may be. In my logic, that was the case, because they kept secret that she had any relation to anybody that was a sheriff anywhere, or a deputy, sheriff's deputy. And he's still a sheriff's deputy. And then you had Kate Cunio's, I almost said father, but her uncle, David Cunio, was a Sacramento County sheriff's deputy. And then you had Wayne Wu's son was one of the many Nates that was at the party. Oh my goodness. And then a few days after Trinity Backus, and I know I'm skipping a lot of other tragedies, like earlier in the year in May was when Hudson Lindau drowned in the middle of campus in a little tiny creek. Yeah, right. Who was friends with Ethan Chapin, who was then red-rummed with his girlfriend and her two roommates in their house at 1122 King Road. A few days after Trinity Backus was found up there in Grass Valley, and a few days after Matthew Kerr was forced to resign from the Wazoo Police Department that he had completely screwed up and gotten all of the administration staff fired at, the chief, the assistant chief, the captain, all three of them. He got all three of them resigned. And then he got himself resigned on November 4th. And then you had somebody who was appointed, Stanley Mortensen was appointed in October to be the DA in Kootenai County. And he just happens to have the same last name as Dylan Mortensen. And he's involved in all of this. And then you had James Fry's wife, Julie Fry. Can you keep up? Are you taking notes? And I always forget important things too. I'm trying so hard not to. Julie Fry had just won the election to be the clerk of courts. She was already the director of finances for the city of Moscow, which she'd been in that job from about 2018. James Fry had been the police chief from about 2016. They both also were graduates of the University of Idaho, just like everybody else. Oh, you silly puppy dog. She's such a hound for the food. Come here, baby. Come here. Leave my food alone. See, she'll eat anything. And she'll knock it over and she'll break my favorite dishes because she's just a big floppy dog. Anyway, trying to finish this up. So Julie Fry, as far as I know, I tried to look into it recently. She's still the treasurer of the city of Moscow, and she's the clerk of courts. So she's in charge of all the public records for that county. I think so. She was elected to that position, clerk of courts, meaning that when somebody does a public records request, she's going to know about it and she has to approve it. No, you little mop top, come here. Oh, okay. We have comedy and then we have comedy, the funniest looking dog in the world. I don't mean that in a bad way. You're adorable. I used to think she was a Muppet, but then I realized she was the Lorax. And she speaks for the trees, and she's a lemur. So she's about 6 months now. And she's hilarious. And she is such a little chow hound. And she's such a love bug. And she can kiss me in the ear. Oh, she's got the funniest tail. You guys have never seen her little tail. And you can't see it because it's like non-existent. And it wasn't that it's removed. I think that that's just typical for, we're looking at your butt, girl, for Cocker Spaniels. They just, it looks a little bit longer on the screen than it actually is. It kind of looks like a thumb. It's hilarious. But yeah, she's extra cute when she's had a bath. But she's not like dirty or anything. It's just that we don't brush her because we're bad owners. Oh, we love her though. I should brush her because she's such a pretty girl. Stay away from my food. Okay, so did I run down enough crapola? Okay, I might have to wrap up soon too. I'm going to try to catch up with you guys and then go to my notes. See, I'm just going to get rid of everything. Okay. Big E knows where the bodies are buried. Yep. Yeah, he does. I know. And he needs to just come out with it. I'm in the camp that Kylie is still alive. Otherwise, why did they fake the autopsy? You know, Patricia, I'm mostly in that camp too. I think she's in a Handmaid's Tale nightmare. And I kind of have a crazy conspiracy theory suspicion with the Idaho 4 being potentially in a Handmaid's Tale kind of nightmare. Because, you know, the whole thing with eugenics, like that's such a thing with these crazy freaks running the country right now. Such a thing with the Big E and with Peter Thiel and all those white supremacist freaks. Patricia, I appreciate your opinion. I don't agree because Shanda has proven to me that the second pics, Sleepy and were post-mortem. Well, and I definitely can agree with that too, Annabise. I'm not going to pretend that I know one way or the other. And I certainly don't want to be like going down rabbit hole conspiracy theories if it's counterproductive to justice for the situation, which I think with both cases that's a very high risk, which is why I don't really go down that crazy path too often. But I do like to be honest with you guys about my thought process. So, yeah, she definitely looks close to being deceased, at least in those pictures. The Sleepy and so the Sleepy is the one where she's got the flannel shirt on, and Shan did a great job breaking that one down. And then the one is where her fingers look like a mop, and it looks like her head is in the water, and there was that tiny little black and white Polaroid in the dashboard, like where the odometer is in her boyfriend's car, ex-boyfriend, what's his name, you know, Jägermeister. And he took a picture and posted the picture of the picture and said, you know, you guys are all sick mofos, and called people pedophiles. So there's that. I don't know, just not enough proof for me. Right. Exactly. I can see where you're coming from, Patricia. I believe Kylie is gone, unfortunately. Well, I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. of course, I have said this consistently. I would prefer that all these people are alive and that they're simply just chained up in somebody's dungeon. You know, it's got to be pretty freaking grim when you're hoping that somebody's just chained up in someone's dungeon rather than the alternative. Like, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I know some people think that that type of abuse is worse than a life ending, but I think that it depends on the person. And I think that for the most part, people want to survive. And for the most part, that people are survivors and that they will get through it. And it's not going to be easy, but people are stunningly strong, resilient, maybe to make all the Ring cameras go down and not be able to record. Oh, right. But see, that's the thing, is that there's so many hot spots. You're talking about with Idaho 4 and how the campus, how the internet went down that night. And I always want to kick credit to Nerdy Addict was the one who figured that out for himself and then called the FBI and let them know what he found. And then he made a video about it. And good for Nerdy Addict for doing the right thing with the information and for discovering the information. Like, what a great nerd. Nerding out is good. Is good. It was also when Kylie left us and Idaho 4. Right. 2022. And then, it was a bad year for the criminal defendant of the Idaho 4 too, especially if he didn't do it. And Trinity, yep. And Dante, thank you, Sherry. I know I was missing that one. And Dante Del Toro, the young guy about the same age as Trinity and Kylie, who went missing from a rest stop area during school hours when he was out getting a soil sample. And now with all this stuff with the government and the Big E and all of their things with the lithium and the cobalt and the other rare earth minerals, it really makes me wonder. Dante was getting a dirt sample from that rest area to test for a school project. Is that just a coinky-dink? I have a feeling Elaine is sleeping with one eye opened right now. I'm not sure which one is Elaine. Tell me who Elaine is, please. I'm drawing a blank. I'm talking about so many cases at once. Ghislaine, are you talking about Ghislaine, Patricia? Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey and his attorney demanded that he never be left alone in his cell, and he was left alone in his cell. His roommate was moved, I think, just a few hours before he was then found unalive. So, yeah, I think you mean Ghislaine, right? And it's a crazy name to spell. It's like Ghisliane, something like that. Jism. I said it. No, I didn't say it. Beep. Jizz. We'll just call her Jizz. Yes, Sherry. Patricia, I am sure she is. Anna B's talking about, I'm not sure if you are talking about that you're sure that Kylie's still alive. I thought that you said that you didn't think she was. Oh, that you're sure she's deceased. That's what I think you mean right there, Annabise. Okay, this is why I got to stay caught up. It would just be so obvious if all of a sudden something unfortunate happened to Ghislaine, I think is who you mean right now. So she has that in her favor. Absolutely. And it would also be so obvious if she was suddenly pardoned, which she's been trying to get a meeting going to get a pardon for months now, but you never hear about it until today. All of a sudden it's back in the news. It's just kind of been like a murmur over the last few months. So is Mark still with us? So Sherry, Mr. Mark came into the live yesterday. So if you watch yesterday's live, Mr. Mark came in right at the tail end. And he said he had a job interview today. So let's all pray for him. He seems like he'd be so good at what he does. I think he does like scouting for HR, for corporate remotely. I think that's what he does. I could be incorrect, but he seems like he would have a really good knack for it. Patricia says, Idaho 4, when did they take out all 4 bodies with nobody seeing? Exactly. It just doesn't seem possible. And yeah, they usually will try to make it so that you can't see. Like when they pulled the vehicle out of the water at the Prosser Creek Reservoir, and they have up those screens and everything. You know, they try to keep privacy for respect for the deceased and the family, and they don't want to show all that gore publicly. At a stoplight, LOL, I hope, and my hope and prayer is that all of us will work together to get justice for Kylie and all of those victims soon. I agree. I know after last night's video, I was like, man, no one mentioned Kylie tonight, because usually you guys will mention Kylie if I don't, but I almost always mention her, not even intentionally. It's just that it's a thing, you know, it just comes up constantly in my mind, in my logic. You know, I used to joke that like she could be in Diddy's dungeon. You know, there's truth to every joke, right? And yeah, sometimes things are so obvious, they're so in your face that you can't even see it. I think a lot of that with the you know, the predator that El Presidente is, and all the cases that there are, and all of the things that he's said and done and not done, you know. Yes, people are incredibly strong. Yeah, resiliency is amazing. It's amazing what people have survived. And read these last couple of comments and then get to my notes. I agree so much. BoobTube. Totally agree, Sherry says. Okay. And I've got so many pages here. Let me see what I have to, you know, I'm just going to jump around. So El Presidente was complaining in one of the videos that I watched about, this was just today, about how he got impeached for making a perfect phone call to Zelensky. He got impeached for that. Everybody's so unfair to him. He's treated so unfairly. And he said, everything is good, great. But Rick Perry is not the smartest bulb. Okay, it's sort of like when he said not the sharpest bulb. But this time he said not the smartest bulb. So maybe next time he'll get the little cliche right. The brightest bulb, douchebag. Sharpest knife, brightest bulb. Not the smartest. You don't have to say any noun after that. You can just say not the smartest. But what he said was Rick Perry is not the smartest bulb. And it's just like, yeah, and you're the freaking stable genius that deserves like 1 million Nobel Peace Prizes, right? Okay, so then the exaggeration when he talked about how you grab him by the kitty cat, you know? Oh, and he met Melania at the Kitty Cat Club, I think. Anyway, when you grab him by the kitty cat, and he was asked about it in a deposition, and he said, and they're like, so you believe that when you're famous, you can just grab them by the kitty cat without asking or anything? He's like, yeah, it's, you know, movie stars have been doing that for millions of years. It's been like that. Exaggerate much, Trumpster fire? Millions of years movie stars have been grabbing women by the kitty cat. Millions. Okay, whatever you say. Let's see. We will never give up. Can't stop, won't stop. Exactly. You got it, Anna. And whoops, Ghislaine. Yeah, it's like Ghislaine. Like I said, I think it's Ghislaine. I've looked it up so many times. Because also another one that's hard to spell is Gouffre, Virginia Gouffre. So I look up that all the time. Zelensky's also hard to spell. I mean, a lot of these names that are hard to spell, I try to get at least close. so yeah, Ghislaine. Just call her Jism. She's so gross. And yeah, she is trying to get a pardon, you know. She deserves a lot worse than prison. I mean, just my opinion. So I think today there was a White House Faith Office luncheon. I think that El Presidente was speaking, and I'm not sure that it was today, but I think that was today. Maybe it was yesterday. A White House Faith Office luncheon. Maybe I'll ask my Google real quick. When did the president speak at the White House Faith Office luncheon most recently? It was today, July 14th. So I'll read what AI says. The president most recently spoke at the White House Faith Office luncheon today, July 14th, 2025, according to a PBS article. The event was also streamed live on YouTube and covered by C-SPAN. The administration also announced a, quote, major statement, unquote, end quote, on Russia would be made at the luncheon. Russia. My God, Marsha. Like, isn't a White House Faith Office luncheon, isn't that like church and state not being separated? Like, how long has he been doing these damn things? So I think it was at this Faith White House office luncheon today that he was talking about how amazing Scott Bessent is. Scott Bessent, to remind you, is the Secretary of the Treasury who used to live in the Barbie mansion, who looks to me like he's going to have an aneurysm any minute. He laughs nervously, and he's a billionaire, and I don't think he knows anything about money. He was probably born into the billions. But he said, Trumpster Fire said to him, "You make any deals today, Scott?" Ha ha ha. And then he started talking about how awesome Secretary Howard Lutnick is. I like to call him Nutlick. Howard Lutnick is the one who made Rumble go public, and Peter Thiel was behind Rumble. We went all over all the weirdos involved in the Rumble thing. Oh, Bongino, Dan Bongino was one of the people involved in Rumble. I forget the guy's name who started Rumble, but Bongino, Peter Thiel, Lutnick, and a few others were all part of it blowing up and going public. And yeah, I mess up spelling all these people's names too. Anna Bees, I just can't spell anything. I have to look up every other word, it seems like sometimes. And then it's like I'm spelling it right. It just looks so wrong. Like, that's almost unnerving, isn't it? Yes, something was so fishy when they pulled her car out. Well, something was so fishy when they found it within 30 minutes and the mom was eating sushi, and then everybody was all pissed off with them, and they're still pissed off with them to this day, when in all of their history of 20 years of locating loved ones and missing vehicles, they've only been praised and thanked and not the targets of anger. No pun intended, Patricia Moss says. I still post on Sam's once in a while mentioning her friend. Kylie, you're awesome, Fred. That is the best. So, all right. What else? Yeah, if you look at this, I think was the quote. If you look at the last million years, the stars can grab women by the Kit Kat, right? I think that was the quote in his deposition. So I already said everyone involved in Jack Smith's investigation of January 6th, they all got fired on Friday, for anybody who missed it. So while we were distracted by El Presidente and Melania going to Texas to talk about how Donnie was saved by someone great like him, who he believes that he was saved so that he can save the country. I have that written down somewhere in here. So Joseph Terrell is the ethics advisor that Bondi fired also on Friday. And I just want to say, if little E was red rummed and it wasn't self-induced, which I don't think there's much question, in my opinion, that he was red rummed, who done it? Who done it? And obviously, if that was the case, there'd have to be a lot of people involved. A lot. So, what is this? Never heard of a system being put up where they would have an alarm on it. I think those were some of Trumpster Fire's words on Friday to Will Cain in that interview with the Fox News investigative journalist. That he's never heard of like a flood system being put up where you'd have an alarm at 1 a.m. that would have been good. I'm pretty sure that right here in my town, my city in Ohio, that our alarm system would go off in the middle of the night for a hurricane, for a tornado. I mean, we've actually had a hurricane come through here. I think the last one was like 2008. But we had a bunch of tornadoes in the middle of the night a few years ago. And yeah, the tornado siren. So the stable genius said, never heard of a system being put up where they would have an alarm at 1 a.m. That would have been good. You think? You never heard of that? You live under a rock? Or you're just stupid? Or you're just lying? Or all of the above? And then he went on to say that the Weather Service did a good job and that they actually had more people involved. It's not that they were understaffed. They had extras. It's like double speak. And then something about, he did more double speak, double think, that there were early warnings consistently, and then they became more dire. It's like the early warnings in the Texas flood for the 4th of July, I think were on the 3rd of July. And I think that those early warnings were that they were expecting up to 6 inches of rain. And we all know that there was at least 13 inches of rain. And yeah, I think the most dire of the warnings came after the 30 feet of the water river surge, from the research that I've done, it seems. So the Trumpster Fires went on to say how the governor was on it within minutes. But wait, how could the governor have been on it within minutes if even like the firefighters weren't on it for at least 90 minutes from the time that the flooding was already underway? This is just crazy talk. And if you only watch Fox News, you're like, oh, okay, good, got it. All those crazy left-wing radicals that are trying to undermine and sabotage and lie about the great one, about our dear leader. They're just evil. Okay, so this is another Trumpster Fire quote. I think it was from today. I think it was at the Faith Luncheon, where he said, this country gives away billions for things they shouldn't be doing. And then he talked about Brian Bobbitt and how awesome he is, and that he learned something on Friday talking to all the people in Texas, that when you love your daughter and you go home, you rebuild. I'm paraphrasing, but I couldn't keep up with the crazy. So, yeah, it was something to the effect of, he was just amazed with these people, that even the ones that lost a daughter, that they still wanted to rebuild. It's like, well, of course. Have you ever interacted with humans? Like, humans almost always want to rebuild after a disaster. Like, they don't want to flee. It's where they're from. It's like the one thing that they know. They want to stay grounded. They want to stay home. They want to rebuild and rejuvenate and heal the wounds. Freezing up. They were best friends, don't you know? They are doing their stuff again and making you freeze up for a second. Well, that's because I'm so far off the mark, right? Fred, you are my hero. Not freezing at all, watching on my iPhone. Okay, good. I know. I think I need a better system too. I think that it glitches. I don't think it glitched as much when I had like a gamer laptop, but that thing was so expensive, and this is just a much less expensive laptop. I thought I was going to get a whole new computer system when, like a hand-me-down, like a desktop, like a high-end gamer system, and it didn't happen. So here we are. Watching news laters, everyone. Thanks, Fred. Thanks for saying goodbye and letting us know. Thank you, Patricia. Then it's just my phone by Fred. Much respect, Fred. Yes. Thanks to everyone. And it's an hour and 17 minutes in. I'm going to try to power through some of my notes because it is about almost 7 o'clock. Okay. I already read both of those pages, I think. Yeah. Good. I got through all of that. There's just so much crazy. It's not even worth breaking it all down. When this is Trump talking, he said, everybody wants to say it's Trump's fault. Well, that's funny because you always want to say it's Biden's fault. Everything is Biden's fault, right? And he said that Fox told the truth and that the National Weather Service was right on top of everything. All of that stuff about those positions being vacated and vacant, all lies, fake news. And then, he said something like, well, if we take, let's see, I need to respond. If you take 10 minutes off, I think he was talking about the response to the floods. Seems like a lot. It's like, yeah, in a grave disaster emergency, every single second seems like a lot. Things kind of slow down. So like if you're the one in the disaster, like you're the one in the water drowning, or you're watching your loved one, it's unbelievable. And so, yeah, they actually gave a lot of warnings. This is a Trump quote, but whatever. Easy to blame the feds. There was warnings the day before there was going to be something. Right. There was warnings the day before that there was going to be something, not a 30-foot surge in the river. And it's no guarantee that they could have predicted that had all of those positions been filled. But why not try to be as thorough and safe as possible? And then Trumpster Fire says it's unbelievable they acted so quickly. But wait, they did not act quickly. Kristi Noem took 72 hours to deploy the FEMA. The firefighters from Mexico got there to help the flood victims at the Guadalupe River before FEMA got there. And another quote by the stable genius, this is just something that happens. Well, if it's your loved one that you lost, I don't think you'd say it just like, this is just something that happens. It's like, yeah, those things do happen. However, the very bare minimum response is to learn from the situation how you could have done it better the next time. Even if you did everything perfect, that's still just the way most professionals do things. It's like constantly trying to improve, even when there's no identifiable errors. Still streamlining. And then the stable genius said, maybe something could have been done. Maybe, huh? And that's when he said, never heard of a system being put up where they would have had an alarm at 1 a.m. That would have been good. Like, this is crazy talk. I feel like half of what comes out of his mouth is just completely insane like that. Never heard of a system like that? Okay, so this was the crazy talk when he was being interviewed by Will Cain. And I think some of that might have been from Will Cain's interview too. It might have been from the luncheon today, kind of a blend of the two. These are all Trumpster Fire quotes. I have an obligation to do a good job, I feel, because I was saved, by somebody special like me. If that's what he said. So that quote, I have an obligation to do a good job, I feel, because I was really saved by someone special, and then either like me or just a mumble, blah, blah. Let's just say he said blah, blah, because who knows what the F he said. I mean, he's really mumbling, because I think he's trying to say it under his breath. Like, he realizes as it's coming out that maybe he should mumble those words. But so is he saying that he only has an obligation to do a good job because he was saved by somebody special during the fake assassination attempt? Otherwise, he wouldn't want to do a good job for the people of this country? What? The reason I was saved was to save our country. This is all paraphrasing. That's a direct quote. The reason I was saved was to save our country. Our country was almost dead, but now we're the hottest country. Dead. He says that's such a strong word, which is why I am very saddened by this. This is part of the interview with Will Cain on Friday, a week after so many people lost so many loved ones, and some of those loved ones, probably twice as many as those that have been identified as deceased, at least that many, again, that have not been even recovered yet, that are just unaccounted for. And so he's extra saddened by this because, in his words, because the reason that he was saved was to save our country. It was almost dead. That's a terrible word to use, he says. And now we're the hottest country, which is why I'm very saddened by this. Does that make sense? Am I the nutty bunny? And then he goes on to say, everyone's going to be in great shape. We all got nothing to worry about. Oh, okay, good. Dear leader, whatever you say. Let me see what else I need to say before I wrap this up. A lot of things have happened. It's hard to believe. This is all quotes of his in the interview with Will Cain, talking about what I believe is a fake assassination attempt a year ago yesterday. And I think part of it was to steal the thunder, the attention of his kids mourning the loss of their mother the following day. He was like, well, look, me almost died too. You're all worried about her. She's already deceased. Like, I almost got it. So let's focus on me because I'm still here. Me. I don't think it's any coincidence that it was the day before her 2-year anniversary. And now today is her 3-year anniversary of her children losing their mother. Donnie Jr., Eric, and Ivanka. And all the grandkids losing their grandmother. She was probably an awesome grandmother. I mean, she seemed like an awesome mom. She seemed like an awesome person, in my estimation. And she seemed like a damn good wife too. Like he really lost a keeper when he threw her back in the water to catch the young 23-year-old Marla Maple. In my opinion, and we all know that didn't go well. And then the next trophy wife, I don't think that one went so well either. But, you know, Ivana was quite the trophy, and she had a lot of substance, and she was the mother of her children, of his children, and hers. Anyway, he's saying that this was something that he said about a year ago, the fake assassination attempt. I just have to call it a fake assassination attempt because I feel that that's what it was. And if I'm wrong, I apologize then. He said that, you know, there I am in front of a massive crowd of people. I don't think that crowd was that big. Like, none of his crowds were that big. And it's hard to believe. A lot of things have happened the last year. It's almost impossible to believe that it was a year. It's almost impossible to believe it was a miss. I mean, it was a hit, but it was a miss. How could it be a hit and a miss at the same time? Okay, I'm going to try to wrap her up because we're at about an hour and a half. Thanks for being here, you guys. Oh, me brain is bleeding. This is my therapy. Like, I get so overwhelmed by all this information, and then like putting it into a video, it's like a container for all of the confusion and nuttiness, because it is so effing crazy when there was a very long delay in the response, 3 days, and then you're told that there was a quick response. Or when you're told, like, oh, I've never heard of a system that could warn people at 1 a.m. That would be great. It's like, no, there's those systems. Those have been around for a long time. We have those systems all over the country. In fact, other countries have those systems too. We're not the only ones. Probably some third world countries even have them. But, you know, we're kind of like the forerunner on things like that. Like, our country is probably one of the very most safest countries in the world. We've got this crazy 911 system where you can call 911 from anywhere in the United States of America and they will come to you. That's not normal. We're a very fortunate country. These are the things that make our country awesome, in my opinion. And it's not cheap to have that kind of system. It's a lot of taxpayer dollars, which is why people need to have taxes so that we can afford our firefighters and our first responders and our schools and our roads. If you don't have taxes, you can't afford to have good roads. And then even if you had good first responders, they wouldn't be able to get anywhere because the roads would be so washed away. Or whatever. It would take a while. Me brain hurts. Okay. Stable Genius got so busted by Ben and others with the government appointed numbers available to help. Are you talking about Ben Meiselas, Patricia Moss from the Midas Touch? Because, yeah, I've mentioned that that's a great channel, and sometimes I get frustrated with that channel, but that channel, like right now, is just on fire. A lot of the channels that are some of the bigger ones that are more left-leaning alternative are just on fire right now. Rebel HQ is another one I like a lot. Like he said about all the COVID passings, it is what it is. I had one man passing that was so angry about anyone saying he had COVID. Yeah. Well, I think for a lot of people, it was embarrassing at first to have COVID. Like it felt like you were like a leper, right? I mean, when my first family member got COVID, it was my daughter who was away at university, and almost everybody in her university and a couple others like it got COVID. Because even though they were doing a lot of the protocol, like, having classes online and keeping on their masks and having like pods of 6 that they would eat their meals with, like the same 6 people every meal. But they would take their masks off when they sat together at the cafeteria table and ate their meals. And when my daughter told me that after she had COVID, I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. So they were doing that like all across Ohio with universities. There were several universities that had crazy outbreaks, like almost the entire school contracted it. So then it wasn't so embarrassing because it kind of normalized it. But that wasn't until fall. That is true. The brainwashing, how many jobs he has developed, 1,047,000 extra jobs he has created. Love the 47. Oh, that's funny. And Patricia Moss, I almost said Annabees. Yeah, that is wild. That is funny, 47,000. I mean, he just pulls numbers out of his rear end or thin air or both. He just talks out of his rear end. Anna B says, LOL, Patricia, you mean all of the produce picking jobs? So I was listening to a channel last night that was really breaking it down, and I'll have to remember which channel it was. How as all of these jobs are being eliminated because of AI, they're trying to say that they're creating jobs, but the jobs that they're creating, I think, are the jobs that are available because of all the deportations, it seems, because all the jobs are getting replaced with artificial intelligence. So where are all these mystery jobs coming from? It's all okay, Anna. All the perfectly able people collecting health insurance will be working the field now, even the infants. Exactly, Patricia Moss. Right. All of the people on Medicare, Medicaid are going to be forced to work if they want to still get benefits. So they'll take these cotton picking jobs, right? That's where that phrase cotton picking comes from. Annabees, I mean, he was actively passing, and in his last breaths, he said, I don't have that fake virus. He was mad that we were all in gowns and masks, etc. Oh my goodness, that is wild, Annabees. I don't have that fake virus. How dare all those perfectly able losers getting rich from the government collecting fraudulent money? I know, all the waste, fraud, and abuse. Like, to me, all the waste, fraud, and abuse is this administration. It's all waste, fraud, and abuse, in my opinion. I can't handle all the things he says, Patricia. No, but this is why it's good to watch the comedians kind of repackage it, because even though it's painful, it is kind of funny if you have good writers and good delivery. It is very painful, very, very painful. Like what Patricia said about all the losers getting rich from the government. with their fraudulent collections of all the money. It's just insane how these billionaires are so effing greedy. They want everybody's penny. But really what they want is they want less people, and then they want the masses to be like the peons that worship the royals. Like the billionaires think that they're going to be the royals. The Donnie thinks he's king. That's what they want. They all want to be like Kim Jong-un in North Korea, or Vladdy in the former USSR. It's effing crazy. Like, you can get rich getting money from Medicare for an operation. Exactly. Precisely. That's what makes it funny, not funny. So, all right, you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Love and light. Drink your water, eat your protein, eat your veggies, and we will see you very soon. The Royals are going to win the World Series, LOL. Thanks, people. Oh, and don't forget to share that little 1-minute short that I clipped that's in the description of this video. Please share it with everyone you know if you think you should. All right. Sorry for my terrible joke. Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just trying to wrap it up more quickly. Normally, I'm like slower wrapping it up, but I'm like, oh my God, it's 3 minutes to 7. I got to go. All right. Like I said, I got to get to Costco. So have a great night. Get some fresh air and take care of yourself.